But that's where we want to look deeply at these contracts and these government programs to see if they really make sense anymore.
Hello and welcome to the Doge and Maha News Channel. In this video, we're going to focus on the Department of Government Efficiency. Specifically, we're going to look at a video with Marjorie Taylor Greene and her new role in the House Doge Subcommittee. I don't really know what that role is going to be, so let's go ahead and learn about that together. But before we start, I just want to remind you that I'm going to bring you Doge news or Department of Government Efficiency news every single day. You're going to want to make sure you like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the videos that I post every single day with the updates regarding Doge. It's a really fun story, so make sure you join me. All right, let's get into this video.
The people we elect to run the government, they're not the ones who actually run the government. It's the unelected bureaucrats in the administrative state. That was created through executive action. It's going to be fixed through executive action.
Are you expecting to close down entire agencies, like President Trump has talked about the Department of Education, for example? Are you going to be closing down departments?
We expect mass reductions. We expect certain agencies to be deleted outright.
I reacted to that video earlier, probably 4 or 5 videos ago, that little clip right there. So make sure you check out my channel and see my reaction to that full video with Vivek Ramaswamy.
And that is Vivek Ramaswamy with me here last weekend, who, along with Elon Musk, will be leading the newly created Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, under the Trump administration, aimed at cutting at least $2 trillion said to be government waste of taxpayer money. Now on Capitol Hill, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer is establishing a subcommittee that will work alongside Musk and Ramaswamy in overseeing and auditing government spending, to be led by Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie.
So the DOGE subcommittee will oversee and audit government spending. Okay, interesting.
Taylor Greene, a key member of the House Oversight Committee, and she joins me right now. Congresswoman, it's good to see you. Congratulations on this new role.
Thank you, Maria. Good morning. Good to see you, too.
Tell us what you see as the most government waste.
It's all over. Every single government department, program, grant programs, contracts, it is everywhere. And so when we look into a deep dive into this massive problem that's caused America to be $36 trillion in debt, we're going to have to go into all kinds of buckets. And that's how I'll be separating things on the Oversight Subcommittee on DOGE. We'll be looking at everything from government-funded media programs like NPR that spread nothing but Democrat propaganda.
Yeah, there's so much opportunity here. I mean, the wasteful government spending is just so huge. There's so many different buckets, like she said, to dive into. And I do like the first one here, NPR. I mean, really, why are we still subsidizing a radio station? Why can't they just stand on their own 2 feet, right? Why can't they sell commercials like every other radio station out there? Why are we giving them money?
We'll be going into grant programs that fund things like sex apps in Malaysia.
Yeah, have you heard about this? Yeah, I mean, they're grant programs that they have. They fund things that are just crazy, these weird experiments. Like she talked about sex apps in Malaysia. I mean, the weirdest things, and they're almost always in other countries. Why are we spending money to give grants to these other countries? Like there was a grant to study whether or not helmets were a good idea in the country of Ghana. I think we already know that helmets are a good idea when you're riding your bike or riding a motorcycle. Why do we need to give another country money to study this? It's just the weirdest things like that.
Toilets in Africa, all kinds of programs that don't help the American people. I want to talk to the people at the Pentagon and ask them why they can't find billions of dollars every single year and why they fail their audit, but not.
Yeah, again, so the Pentagon failed. I believe it was the 7th year in a row. They have failed their audit. They don't know where their money goes. I mean, it's wild to me. How come these people are not being held accountable? What is going on with the leadership in these organizations? There's just no accountability.
Just that, Maria. I'd like to talk to the governors of sanctuary states and the mayors of sanctuary cities and have them come before our committee and explain why they deserve federal dollars if they're going to harbor illegal criminal aliens in their states and their cities. We're going to look in every single aspect, and we don't care about people's feelings. We're going to be searching for the facts, and we're going to be verifying if this is worth spending the American people's hard-earned tax dollars on.
Well, these are all very.
That's a really interesting point as well when she's talking about the sanctuary states and cities. I mean, if you're a government entity, whether you are a city, county, state, and you are defying federal law, then why do you still get federal money? I don't know. I don't know what the right answer to that is, but I mean, it doesn't make sense. If you want to go out on your own and defy federal law, you probably shouldn't get federal money anymore.
Very important issues that you raised. I want to ask you about some of those government contracts that you just mentioned, government contractors, because one analyst says that DOGE would push for large-scale audits of big government contracts where a temporary suspension of payments would yield significant savings. Now, some of these companies in the defense sector and elsewhere, pharmaceutical sector, these are publicly traded companies. These are companies who are relying on government contracts. How vulnerable are those contracts and that business for those companies? I'm talking government contractors from outside companies.
Yeah, they might be vulnerable, but we need to audit the money that is going to them. We've been sending them a lot of overpayments. I mean, once they get in there, they need to actually, like she said, stop the payments, look at what we're paying for, make sure we're actually receiving the goods or services that we're being invoiced for. Make sure we're not being overbilled, so we don't send overpayments. Make sure that the prices are fair market value, that we're not paying $600 for a toilet that you can buy at Home Depot for $50. The main thing is audit these government contracts. Make sure that the payments are a good use of my money and your money.
Well, this is where the Oversight Committee, my subcommittee, will line up and walk and work hand in hand with DOGE and Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. What these men are stepping forward and doing for our country is a great service, and we're grateful to them. We're grateful for President Trump setting up the DOGE Commission in his incoming administration. But that's where we want to look deeply at these contracts and these government programs to see if they really make sense anymore. Maria, there are so many government agencies and government programs and contracts that their cause, their purpose has expired and they're no longer needed. And
yeah, here she is. She's making a great point. Here's this X post at DOGE. It says in fiscal year 2024, U.S. Congress provided $516 billion to programs whose authorizations previously expired under federal law. Nearly $320 billion of that $516 billion expired more than a decade ago. So we continue to send money to programs that have expired up to a decade ago. Why are we still funding these programs when they are no longer authorized by Congress? And that's an example of what she's talking about.
The American people shouldn't have to pay for them, but yet their budgets get reauthorized year after year. So this is important work we have to do. It's going to be very tedious, and I look forward to doing it, and I look forward to lining up the members of Congress that will be on the subcommittee with me.
So then every company out there who has a contract with government should be on alert right now. And the question you're going to be asking is what? Do they provide value to government? What? How will you decide?
Yeah, that's a great question. If you are a company with a government contract right now, you better make sure that you're legit. Make sure that you're getting paid for legit services, for legit goods, that you are not overbilling, because DOGE and the DOGE subcommittee in Congress is looking at that stuff.
Well, it's not just contracts. Let's talk about federal employees that haven't showed up to work ever since COVID. We're also looking at we have thousands of buildings that the federal government owns and pays for with over $15 billion a year. But yet those government buildings sit empty and these government employees stay at home still.
We're going to look at another X post regarding that. Yeah, so check this out. It says, again, this is the @DOGE X page. Federal government agencies are using an average of just 12% of the space in their D.C. headquarters. The Department of Agriculture, with space for more than 7,400 people, averages 450 workers each day, 6% occupancy. And this is a reference to an article out of the Washington Times.
Still to this day, This is the exact type of waste, fraud, and abuse, and failure, honestly, failure. See, I see the American people as the federal government's customers. The federal government should be providing the top and the best customer service to the American people. And the way to do that is to carefully spend their money. The way to do that is to cut programs, contracts, employees, grant programs, you name it, that are failing the American people and not serving the American people's interests. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
Exactly. It's our money. They should treat us like we're the customers, and instead they typically abuse us. Their customer service is terrible at the federal government. It's our money. You know, they should be looking out for our best interests, but typically they are looking out for their own best interests.
And another thing that you just said a moment ago is about sanctuary cities, about officials throughout the country who might be harboring illegals in this country. Are you saying that sanctuary states and sanctuary cities will lose their federal funding?
If they use their police officers and their resources to harbor and protect illegal criminal aliens, then absolutely those sanctuary states and cities are in danger of losing their federal funding, and rightfully so. We all just watched in absolute outrage, anger, and tears Laken Riley's murderer's sentencing trial. We listened to her parents, family, and friends. She would be alive today if New York had not been a sanctuary state, if they had not released that monster and released him out to be free again, where he came to Georgia and murdered Laken Riley. Laken Riley's story is not a singular story. It's a story that happens to Americans all over the country. Nearly every single day an American is murdered by an illegal alien. Yeah. If these Democrat governors and mayors want to use their federal dollars and they want to use this funding to harbor illegal criminal aliens, then yeah, we're coming after their money, and they don't deserve a single penny of it.
Congresswoman, DOJ suggests having the Supreme Court review the 1974 Impoundment Control Act, which stops the president from ceasing expenditures authorized by Congress. Tell me about that, because DOJ is taking aim at the $500 billion in annual federal expenditures that are unauthorized by Congress for being used in ways that Congress never intended. Are you expecting to use that Supreme Court review?
That's the ex post that we looked at earlier. We have these organizations that have not been authorized by Congress for more than 10 years. Although they are not authorized by Congress, their budget continues to get approved, and we continue to give them money. So hopefully this looks like DOJ is going to look at those and say, hey, these are not authorized by Congress anymore. So because of this Supreme Court ruling, we can go ahead and stop sending them money.
Yes, we will be looking into that, and I hope to be using that Supreme Court review. Here's something important, though. This was a program that started under Jimmy Carter, and let's face it, Maria, pretty much everything under Jimmy Carter was a disaster. Those were times where people couldn't even afford to live life, and that's pretty much what we've come to today, and it can get a lot worse. You see, it's been bad the past couple of years for the American people because of the federal government's waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption. But going forward, if this interest keeps compounding like it is on our federal government debt, Americans are going to be living something that they never even fathomed it could be. We're looking at third world country levels of poverty. We're looking at homelessness increasing in rapid rates, suicide.
I mean, I don't know if we're going to go down the road that she's talking about right here, but definitely we need to stop the spending. We're spending more money than we're bringing in every single year. Our debt continues to climb at a crazy rate. We're spending about $1.2 trillion just to service the debt every single year. So we got to stop. We got to do the cuts. We got to get back. We got to get our budget under control and actually stop spending more money than we bring in every single year. For several years, we need to bring in a lot more money than we spend in order to pay off this debt and get back to a good financial situation.
Suicide rates increasing. You see, America's been really spoiled for a long time, but the federal government has been the worst abusers of the Americans' hard-earned tax dollars and the American people's trust.
I think that's fair.
And so our subcommittee has a lot of work to do, and we'll be lining up these important hearings. And most importantly, any program, grant recipient, federal agency, they're going to have to come and tell us why they deserve the American people's trust and are allowed to spend their money going forward.
So this is a problem with both Republican and Democrat-run governments. I mean, the overspending has been going on pretty much my entire life, and it's just kind of like something you laugh about, right? It's like a joke. The government continues to overspend and overspend and overspend, and all we can do as American citizens is just kind of laugh it off. Oh, ho, it's so funny. But really, it's sickening. It's sad. And finally, it looks like there's people with enough of a spine like Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk and, of course, Trump to initiate this and really follow through on this and make the hard cuts that the American people really want and that we really need. I would say that most Americans are behind this. Of course, there's going to be some naysayers, some 30% or so that are going to be panicking about this, saying that we're going to make all these cuts that are going to hurt the American people. No, we're not. Most of these cuts that we're going to make are not value-added government agencies. They're not really actually helping the American people. They're actually hurting the American people. So I think by making these cuts, it's going to be a boon to our economy, a boon to everyone's pocketbook. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right. We're going to continue on this theme of trust coming up. Congresswoman, good to see you. Thank you so much. Marjorie Taylor Greene this morning.
We're going to continue on this theme of trust. That's a great point. I don't know about you, but I do not trust the government. They've been overspending our money for many, many, many years, my entire life. And so I don't really trust them. I'm hopeful this time that DOGE can make a difference, that they can cut the spending. I mean, they're giving so much money to Ukraine. How much of that is actually being laundered and going back to these politicians, going back to the Biden family? How much of that money is going to these government contractors and lining their pockets with all this overspending? I mean, really, it is a big Ponzi scheme in the big picture. If you think about it that way, it's just it's not the government spending, it's the government laundering our money. So I'm looking forward to them slashing and cutting, and I know it's really going to help the economy. So I'm following this story every single day because I'm really interested in it. If you're interested in the Department of Government Efficiency and following these stories as well, you're going to want to make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. You want to hit that notification bell so you get notified every single day when I post a new video with the latest DOGE news. Oh, as always, I went ahead and posted the link to the full video down below. Also, if you want to watch my other videos on DOGE, you can go ahead and check out this playlist right here. And I just want to say thanks. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you on the next video.